There are clearly good movies and clearly bad movies, but sometimes we like to get naked, have sex while a 7-foot giant watches just in order to find out what is everything in the middle. This is Good Bad, Bad Good.
Jesus Christ, Ronnie, you know I have to fucking work tonight. Somebody around here's got to make some money.
I'm all broken up here, bitch. I can't work.
Yeah, and whose fault is that?
Fuck
Oh
you.
my God, you're pathetic.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Good Bad, Bad Good, where we continue along this dark, seedy path that we are on in our voyage through October horror movies. If you couldn't tell from the movie clips, which you probably can't because it was just probably slashing and gushing of blood.
Screaming.
We are watching 2007's Rob Zombie's Halloween.
That was a mouthful. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was. How are we doing today? Probably have severe PTSD after watching the movie, but
but I'm very tired.
Yeah, me too. And actually,
Not because of the movie.
the movie tired me out.
I fell asleep on your couch like twice last night. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't. No.
Because I was like, how many more killings? How many people did he kill in this film? Like,
Did you guys watch the movie
25,
together last
We
night?
did. It was the
10,000?
first time we have ever watched a movie together, ever.
Well, not ever, but one of the podcast movies.
What, in like over a decade of knowing each other?
When
Just
else
the-
have
no.
we... Oh, wait, sorry.
We've gone to
Not at the movies.
together.
Not at the movies. At home, sorry.
Home cinema, film watching. We've never watched a movie together?
Nope. And Kai, we just went to the movies for the first time ever to see Elvis a month ago.
We've never gone to a movie before that.
No.
Well, to be fair, you
Kai,
didn't
I think
live
you think
in
we
this.
hang out a lot more than we do.
To be fair, you didn't live in this state for like 4 years. Plus, I hang out with you more than I hang out with anybody else. I just don't hang out with people.
And we only hang out to do the podcast. So it's literally only podcast.
I like
stuff.
myself and I like my dog. What do you want?
Nothing.
Anyway, while we are tired, we're still gonna cruise along through these movies, and this is week 2 of our horror fest. Yes, and we decided to do this movie.
Oh, that was scary.
We decided to do this movie in honor of the new Halloween movie coming out this week, which we will probably go see all together. As a field trip? Actually, Brian literally just left the room.
Yeah.
So
Not me.
Yeah, wait, when do you come into town?
End of September, about a month.
You mean when was he in town?
Oh shoot, no, hold on. I mean, I can't tell you guys. I can't tell you when it is because I don't want to give a look behind the scenes of when we recorded this. I'll be there about a month from today.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, I think let's just get in.
Should we introduce ourselves? Nobody knows who we are yet, because what if this is their first time listening to the podcast?
Good call, Brian.
Touche.
I'll start. My name is Brian Ossip, and I'm a video editor.
I'm Kylene Amaya, and I'm who am I?
A human being.
And I'm Travis Orozco, and I am a director and producer.
This is gonna be glorious.
I wish everyone out there could see what is going on right now with Kai.
It's already
One,
too
she
hot.
wasn't ready for the spotlight when she had to talk. 2, she just yanked the headphones off her head. And 3, she's
remember
about
my
to
first
say
time
that it's
podcasting.
really hot in here.
I already said it.
Oh, she did.
She already
Yeah.
did say it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's us. While Kai
This is gonna be a long episode, folks.
collects herself, let's have Google tell us the plot synopsis. Hey, Google, what's the plot synopsis of the movie Halloween? Oh, wait, there's like...
You
Four
should
of
ask her
them.
what Rob Zombie's
Zombies,
Halloween.
yeah.
Hey, Google, what's the plot synopsis of 2007's Rob Zombie's Halloween?
Here's the synopsis of Halloween. Nearly 2 decades after being committed to a mental institution for killing his stepfather and older sister, Michael Myers, Tyler Maine, breaks out, intent on returning to the town of Haddonfield, ill. He arrives in his hometown on Halloween with the indomitable purpose of hunting down his younger sister, Lori, Scout Taylor Compton. The only thing standing between Michael and a Halloween night of bloody carnage is psychologist Dr. Samuel Loomis, Malcolm McDowell.
Oh my God, that was
One,
for
she got the
so
right
long.
version.
Yeah.
And two, she even gave us the actors' names.
Wait,
which
she did?
She's never done before?
I couldn't really hear it very well, so I'll take your word for that.
Wait, she gave the actors' names?
I figured you wouldn't. Yeah. She said Michael Myers. I'm assuming she's like parentheses, Tyler, whatever.
Maine.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah, Tyler Maine.
To be fair, she could have said the plot synopsis of the original Halloween from 1978, and it still would have basically been the same.
It wouldn't have because let's wait before we delve into the plot differences because there's quite a bit of differences.
There are.
Let's go through our
Okay.
verdicts. Hey, God, Brian, let's go through
Can
our
I
verdicts.
just a quick aside? So I have the IMDb app on my phone, and I'm looking at Rob Zombie's Halloween. But the trailer at the top of the page is currently it's cycling between all of them.
Yeah, it's a retrospective of all of them.
It was showing the 1978 version. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Continue. Give me your verdicts.
To be fair, I also thought the same thing when I
Okay.
went on it and I saw the original like little Michael and his clown
and then Jamie Lee
outfit.
Curtis at like 20 years old.
Yeah. Kai, what is your verdict on this movie?
Bad good.
Okay. Brian,
Ditto.
I am good bad.
What?
Oh,
You were
shit.
entertained by
How's it
this
feel to be
movie?
wrong?
No.
Anyway. Okay. Well, Brian kind of jumped the gun, but we the first category
About
will
how
be breaking
you're
down.
wrong? Oh, no.
What?
Sorry. Go.
Do y'all want to host? Please take the actually Kai, take it away. You're gonna host from this
I'm
episode
kind
from
of
here
too
on out.
lazy. Go ahead.
Brian, you're hosting from here on out.
Yeah, Trav.
Oh my
Trav, you're good at it.
gosh.
Keep going.
Yeah, go. Go,
I hate
go,
you both
go.
so much. Okay, so the first category.
You mispronounced the word love.
Ooh. That doesn't even sound like a win.
Okay, the first category we are gonna be talking about for this week's movie, 2007's Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I think
is
you
the-
have to say Rob Zombie's 2007 Halloween.
You could just say Rob
doesn't
Zombie's
matter.
Halloween.
Because there's too many S's
It could be
otherwise.
Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah.
I don't want the listeners to get confused with 2018's Halloween or 19.
Yeah, but if you say Rob Zombie's Halloween, 2018, I believe, was a Danny McBride.
He wrote it. He didn't direct it.
Yeah, right. Fair. But Rob Zombie had nothing to do with it. So as long as you say Rob Zombie, if they think it's 2018, joke's on them.
Okay, so the first category we're going through is plot synopsis / script. Everything that happens in this chaotic mess of a movie, not to lead the witness in any way. Brian, you already started talking about plot, so let us hear it. What did you think?
Yeah, it felt like a Halloween movie to me in that, so as you were saying, there are definitely some differences, but there's also a lot of similarities. And so like, I'm trying to remember, I can't remember exactly when I was trying to think about this. Dav had never seen the original 1978 Halloween, and I hadn't seen it in probably 15, 20 years. So we watched it sometime earlier this year. And this one, it just had the same kind of vibe where a lot of it feels kind of slower paced. There's some differences with, the whole, I don't know, what is it? Michael Myers is it a stepdad or is it just his mom's boyfriend? I don't know if they ever really clarify who he is, but like
They
his
don't
origin
clarify that.
yeah, it's more of like his origin story. Whereas
Yeah.
the original Halloween just kind of starts out, I believe, in like a first person kind of point of view, where you just see him go on like a killing rampage of the people in his house. Where this, you kind of see a little
Just
more.
one
of a,
person.
Just
Just
his
one person.
sister.
Oh, I thought it was
Yes, that's a big.
I thought it was a sister and like her sister's boyfriend. Was it just his sister?
Mm-mm.
No, he leaves the house before he kills her.
Okay. But so this one, you get more of the backstory. You see him being kind of picked on by his sister, by whether it's the stepfather or just the boyfriend. I'm not really sure. Getting picked on by kids at school, and then also, them trying to intervene.
What's that? What?
I hate you. Now I know what it's like to be you. It's awful. And where they're like trying to intervene with the principal and Malcolm McDowell's character, what's his name, Loomis, where you don't really get some of that in the original.
Mhm.
Right. And they're also showing the origin story of the like mama boy thing, or the fact that like that everyone around him, like you were saying, is like shitty to him with the exception of the mom, who just ignores any and all sign that he's a psychopath.
Yeah. Well, technically,
Yeah.
the baby sister is not shitty to him. for what that's worth.
This is true.
Yeah.
This
So
is true.
I could not disagree more with you. Sorry, Kai. I was going to go
Disagree about what?
second. I was just going to say I'm going to go second for plot synopsis. I cannot disagree with you more about similarities versus differences, from characterization to getting the origin story to getting like all this excess stuff on Michael. I feel like that's so different than the original. Not to mention, in the original, we don't even know that Lori is his sister. That's not till part 2.
That's true. That's a good point.
So everyone that he's terrorizing 15, however many years later,
17.
it's just, they just happen to be 17 years.
Yeah.
Thank you. They just happen to be in like his hometown.
Right.
And the plot synopsis changes, I think, are what has me staying with the good bad, because they take a swing. Like, they take a massive swing when they're changing someone as iconic as Michael Myers. And I have to give them credit for that. I don't like any of the changes in any way, shape, or form. You're taking this figure that is notoriously like a stalking figure, a quiet figure, and changing him into a 7-foot Andre the Giant behemoth that just breaks through walls. And
Yeah, although he was sort of like, I mean, he was kind of like that.
He's still stalking, and he still doesn't talk to anybody. But yeah, they made him giant.
It's an interesting combination of grounded a little bit more in reality, but also a guy that can be shot however many times and still live. So it's, whereas like
Right.
Michael Myers has always been sort of like a realistic character, but maybe he's got some sort of like superhuman powers, but it felt like they were trying to ground him a little more in reality to understand, like, some of it is maybe just like the natural predilection of just being one to fucking murder people.
Yeah.
But also it's a victim of circumstance and what's going on around him. And I did kind of appreciate that.
I appreciated the grounding too, but then on the flip side of that, so they attempt to ground, but definitely in a Rob Zombie type of way. So they attempt to ground this character and giving us backstory, but then they make him superhuman. So that part that went against what they were trying to do in the beginning, especially like the doctor character even says in the Rob Zombie version, like he's not human. Oh, I guess the doctor says that in the first version too. Like,
to clarify for the listeners, how do you feel like what did they do to ground it?
yeah, just the backstory, giving the origin story, letting us know right away from jump, right, what was this guy's childhood like. So it's more like we're peering into the eyes of a serial killer, right? Of like, how does someone get this way? Whereas in the first one, it's like he was maybe just born this way. He just like, because in the first one, we walk into the house and it's a seemingly happy house, and
Suburban
there's
house,
curtains on the super what?
Suburban house.
Yeah,
like it's,
right. There's curtains on the window, and like the teenage couple that's making out are like wearing preppy type clothing. It's like we're very much suburbia 1978, or 1963. Whereas in the second one, in Rob Zombie's version, it's like white trash, poor. Which
Yeah.
also
It's so sorry, go.
no.
Go.
Yeah, I mean it was which is Rob Zombie style, right? That's the characters.
It's just so over the top in this.
Oh, just in this? His movies are always over the top.
Those first few scenes, we'll get into it more with acting, but those first few scenes were really over the top.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I mean
But
all his stuff is over the top, but like when you're painting this portrait of a serial killer, like it literally opens on him killing an animal. It's just like, one of the questions I wrote down is like, clearly you're trying to build sympathy for this person, for this kid or for this character, but like you're cutting that sympathy at the knees every single time. But like,
I didn't feel like they were
Yeah,
trying to
no.
build sympathy for the character at all. I just thought they were trying to explain to us how someone could do this, because they get picked on constantly, because there's this shitty asshole dad, and there's this or they're leaving it up in the air as a question mark, right? Is it because he grew up in this shitty household, or is it because he's a bit of a psychopath, or is it both? Who knows?
The thing that's also kind of weird about it is, I mean, I guess it's possible for that family to live in that neighborhood, but it seems like such like an upper middle class suburban neighborhood, and then you've got this one
Totally.
random white trash family. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that phrase anymore or if I'm going to get canceled. But
Everyone, Brian's white.
You know, like you get this
What?
family that just
I was going to say Brian's white, so.
that's
Yeah, I
true.
was gonna say, if you're white, can you say
That's
white
true.
trash? Because I said it a second ago, I think. Didn't I?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or I, said,
I will not
I
say
said
it.
trailer trash. I don't know what I said.
This obviously kind of poor,
Yeah.
you know, not as well put together family
That's a better way of describing it.
that just doesn't seem like they would even be living.
In this 2-story house.
Thank you. It doesn't even seem like, seem like they would be living in that neighborhood. So it's also kind of a weird juxtaposition of that family, the Myers family, with literally every other character
Yeah,
in the movie.
I have a lot to say about the art department when we get there and technical later because of that.
One other quick thing. Let me just say one quick thing. We're talking about his superhuman abilities. We don't know for sure. He might have had a bulletproof vest on under that jumpsuit. We just don't know.
Who knows? We saw him take the jumpsuit from a man not as giant as he was, yet this jumpsuit fit him perfectly. Maybe along the way, what they didn't show us is he also took
I'm just saying.
a vest for an 18-foot person from an 18-foot cop.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you like how we jumped from 7 feet to 18 pretty quickly there?
For what it's worth, the actor is 6'8", who played him.
By the end of this, he's going to be
Well,
142 feet tall.
He also spent all those years like doing art stuff. So maybe he learned how to sew, and we just didn't see the scene where he actually
Paper
extended.
mache, not just art stuff. He was paper macheing those.
Yeah, but he also
Paper
painted them.
macheing
So he
those
also did
vests? I know.
painting. He also did.
I was just
Today's not the day, Kai.
I was just laughing at the term art stuff, and I'm being an asshole.
Today's the day.
Travis just stabbed me with a kitchen knife that he pulled out from under the desk.
No, I saw it. I already called the cops. I don't know your guys' address, but I called the cops. So don't worry, the ambulance is coming.
Thanks.
The Texas police officer that like got the call was like, "Wait, you're reporting a murder in L.A.?"
Yep. Exactly.
Okay, so I'm trying to stay on topic here. So the opening, he rampages like four people.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot about
in the beginning
bully
before
kid.
he has the kid, the sister, the boyfriend of the sister, and then the stepdad. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
that's his first
he's
killing.
already
That's his
up-
first human killing.
True.
He's already up 3 bodies compared to the OG Michael.
Right.
Yes.
And then he goes into psychiatric ward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which it did have me. So one of my big issues with this, which is what you two are talking about, like I feel like you both are getting at the question of like nature versus nurture, and like, which like it's an age-old question. So many films have like gone over it and whatnot. But I feel like that is such a topic that is too nuanced and complicated for Rob Zombie. Like this film doesn't actually start that conversation a whole lot. They take him into this psychiatric ward, but like I even had the thought of like, what do you do with a kid like this? Like realistically, like what do you do with a 10-year-old that has like murdered 4 people? That clearly, I don't know if he's lying or not, but he says he doesn't remember it. So he's clearly mentally unstable.
And he murdered someone in the psych ward or whatever.
Yeah. So once he's been in there quite a while, they don't really give.
No.
I don't think they give dates for how long he's been in there.
In the beginning, I get the impression it's like a few months, maybe.
I
something
know, like
that.
eventually
Out?
we know he was in there for 17 years or
I think it's 15.
15 years. So the pressure and confinement of the institute that he's in essentially makes him act out and kill one of the nurses that's in there. And then,
Right, because they tell him that he actually won't be able to go home. He keeps thinking that he will be able to go home, and then he learns he won't be able to go home and kills the nurse.
Yeah, and then the mom commits suicide.
Yeah, and the doctor has the doctor has some line when he does get out, and 17 or 15 whatever years later, where he's like, he's been my patient for the last 15 years, but he hasn't said anything. And I'm like, what the hell do you do with this guy?
You're still trying to get through to him, I guess.
Why is he still your patient? What is there to do? He doesn't speak? What do you...
You don't give up on him.
I guess. Yeah.
Here's the thing I will say, though. Why do you leave a kid that's clearly got murderous tendencies in a room with utensils that he could use to murder someone? Didn't he stab her with a fork or something like that?
A fork, yeah.
At least give him a plastic fork.
They should have given him a plastic spork.
A spork. Yeah, just give him a spork. You can't do anything with a spork.
Yeah.
You could pick somebody's nose, maybe.
I feel as though we see from the get-go with all these, like, with the first four murders, we see this, like, super powered boy. Like, those killings, like, it takes a lot of strength, in my opinion.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I feel like even from then, it's like, all right, this dude's going to be,
I guess, but like the one kid, the bully in high school, I wouldn't call it superhuman strength. He beat him with a
Giant stick.
He had to pick up that wasn't a stick. That was a
log.
tree branch. That was log. It was a substantial. You're talking like.
But then the sister's boyfriend, he just uses aluminum bat, which like that's not one hit to the bat. He doesn't even have to be that hard, but that's going to knock you down.
Then he stabs his sister.
Yeah, a few times, but yeah.
But also, he's gentle enough to duct tape his stepfather so peacefully that he doesn't wake up.
Right.
I did have that thought, or he was just that drunk that he was passed out.
Right.
I mean,
think that's what we were supposed to believe.
And didn't wake up, but it was a lot of duct tape. It was that looked like it was multiple rolls worth of duct tape.
That
it was a
actually
comedic amount.
Cool.
It was a comedic amount of duct tape.
But I will say that was a pretty cool death that like he can't do anything about it. And like you're just seeing his eyes roll back in his head.
I did like when he lifts the mask up. So it's like, yeah, it's me, motherfucker.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because he's wearing the clown mask.
Which also gives us, there's little things like that throughout the start of this movie with the origin story that's like, this is revenge based. But in the first movie, he just is killing no matter who steps in his way.
Yeah, I think the original one, I mean, this is just my opinion, but they're making Michael Myers just this blank slate on purpose to just be the boogeyman.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that.
Right.
Like, none of his murders are motivated in any way, shape, or form in the original.
That's true.
He is stalking his sister, but...
No, but we don't know that in the original.
You're right. You're right. But
we don't know that. And then it doesn't come out till number 2, which John Carpenter didn't direct, and John Carpenter didn't even want that to happen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was never part of the plan.
My question was like, was that part of the plot?
No, John Carpenter's vision for Halloween was that each movie was going to be an anthology series. That's why Halloween 3 of the original trilogy has nothing to do with Michael Myers. It's about a witch.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's called Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which I highly recommend people go back because it's pretty decent, but it was like panned because everyone was like, when's Michael showing up?
Right.
Like, why is this woman here?
Right.
That was John Carpenter's original plan. And
did he direct the third one?
He didn't direct any of them other than the one. And maybe he did 2. Don't quote me on that. But it was definitely not the route he wanted to go. And then 3 it made like nothing, like no money whatsoever. And then they brought him back in 4, which was Halloween 4. Mikey's back. The Return of Michael, something like that.
Mike, the boss man.
Michael's back. All right.
No.
Brian's just shaking his head in a clown mask.
Yes, that's just be prepared. I have the clown mask on, so yeah, that's what it was. So like the whole thing, the revenge factor, and how they gave him more of a backstory. I mean, this is also, I feel like when this came out in 2007, it was kind of following a wave of movies, like, and the first one I could think of is Batman Begins. Maybe there's some others that were trying to ground some of these like superheroes or supernatural characters or whatever it is in a more realistic setting. So like when the first one came out in the 70s, it kind of made sense, I think, for it to be, I don't know, a little more enigmatic, I guess. Whereas when Rob Zombie released this in 2007, it was kind of like a newer wave of movies that all kind of fit a similar bill too.
There was also more of a conversation of mental health and what that means in 2007.
True.
In pop culture, or
True.
Not even pop culture, but just in culture at large than in 1978.
Was there?
Right.
I honestly don't remember.
Because
this movie definitely is not PC anymore.
Yes, but more and more.
I feel like there was no conversation in 1978.
Yeah, true.
And more movies around this time, like what we did, 1 Hour Photo. There were more and more movies characterizing mental illness, not to say that they were necessarily deeply and well-versed having a conversation about the mental illness and what it means. But I think it was popping up a lot more. Am I just making up a fact? You're looking at
I feel like the early 2000s was a plague of mental illness is the reason why. Like, we moved away from like, oh, the devil made me do it, to just like, oh, my disease made me do it, which I feel like has a negative effect on mental health conversations. But just my opinion.
But my point was just that it was being talked about more at that time.
Yeah. So then he comes back fast forward 15 years. Kai and I could not figure out when this movie was
I don't think they give any specific dates in this one. But like there was at one point when the girl who is the cheerleader got murdered with her boyfriend like in the house. You know, like he went out to grab the beers out of the car. And Michael Myers put the like ghost sheet over his head. You know what scene I'm talking about? That girl, the blonde girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where she calls... What?
I wanted to laugh in that scene so hard.
Yeah.
Because, like, in the original, there's that ghost scene, right? But Michael's like a normal, average-built dude. So, you know, if someone my height put a sheet on...
So you wouldn't need an
You'd be like, oh, who is that?
XXXL-sized sheet.
Yeah.
I know,
Whereas, like,
true.
he comes and stands at the doorway, and his head is, like, nearly, like, above the doorway. And the girl's like, what are you doing? Why are you standing there? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's
scene...
3 feet taller. His glasses don't even fit. They were like his glasses were like winged out because they couldn't fit on his head.
She was still in that like afterglow from just having sex. She wasn't paying attention.
And she probably had a few beers. She might have been a little buzzed.
Yeah.
But she goes to call Laurie Strode on a cell phone that looks like a late 90s, early 2000s cell phone. So my impression that it was supposed to take place, if not present day to when it was made, then like close to that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And I think that also goes by all the cars you see. Like they're all like around that era as well, around 2005. The dress, like what they're wearing, Kai pointed out several times, like it looked very modern for that era. The problem,
well, except for it drove me nuts in the like his childhood scene. I was like, are we supposed to be in the 70s? Like he's wearing a Kiss shirt. There's like bell bottoms. There's but then the mom is rocking like curls that 90s. And the sister was wearing like cut off short shorts that were definitely from like the Limited 2 or something. I was like, when are we? When are we right now? It's driving me nuts.
And I feel like we're going into technical with that in terms of costume and production design. But I do think like that has impact on how we perceive the plot and the synopsis, because we were thinking like, oh, this is the 70s, but clearly it was probably the 90s.
Yeah.
So Laurie Strode is now a senior in high school, I believe. Her mom had said.
Yeah, junior or senior, I think. Yeah, I think she's at a senior.
Yeah. Essentially, Michael just comes back and bulldozes his way down every single street in Haddonfield until he finds his sister. No one else seems to see Bigfoot literally walking down the street and murdering people.
Well, how many people have actually seen the real Bigfoot? So it's plausible.
I know a bunch of people in the Reddit that I'm in that have seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
Also, the 1978 version of this has a fun little moment where they talk about the actual place that Michael was locked up in. We watch Michael steal a car.
Yeah.
Is it Michael that steals a car?
Like right when he escapes, I think.
Version? Yeah, from the nurse, right? When she's like...
He's on top of the roof.
Right, he's on, that's how he escapes. And then the doctor makes some funny comment like the following day to the police officer or something like... he makes it to the ward at the prison about like maybe somebody taught him how to drive. Because that's true. Like how would a 10-year-old that went to prison that's been there since or to the psych ward know how to drive a car? And then in this version that we're talking about, the 2007 one, they don't talk about it at all. How did he get from...
He's just walking, I guess.
He's just walking.
Yeah.
When you're that tall.
I guess his steps are so massive that it wouldn't take him a ton of time. They also didn't tell us, like the first one tells us it's 150 miles to Haydenfield from where he was at.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the truth for the second one.
I think you said this one. I'm like, oh my gosh, you walked 150 miles?
And got there the next day.
When you're 45 feet tall, you cross a mile in about 10 steps. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's true. And this is kind of going into acting now and like casting and whatnot. Why
don't we go there?
His size
we could switch.
Really affects the story so much. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
How, like, even in the original, it's a little weird to think that this man is standing on the street. And, like, people see him in the original. And, like, he's this weird, creepy dude with, like, a mask. And why is he standing there? But, like, now it's like, you know, he's 55 feet tall. He's taller than, like, the house. And no one's like, you know, who's this Clifford the Big Red Dog sized person standing there.
Honey, I blew up the mass murderer.
But essentially, listeners, you know what happens after this. People have sex. They're naked.
Yes.
Michael kills them
Lots of
in very
teen
brutal
titties.
ways.
Yeah.
All the teen boobs. you
His
ever
body
wanna see.
count is like insane in this movie.
Oh, that's what I said. I was like, how many freaking people did he kill in this movie? Gotta be
Not
like,
enough, clearly.
Not enough. Not enough. That's honestly why I fell asleep. Is because I was like, I don't
you
care
get desensitized
anymore.
to it.
I've seen what?
Yeah, but see, that's the shit I like.
You get
exactly.
desensitized to
You're
it.
just watching the same thing over and over and over again. You're like, okay, I'm not scared. We're not doing like a ton of jump scares, and I'm sick of watching this people just be stabbed by this big dude over and over again.
Nah, see, I'm into that.
I was just about to say, I feel like we're moving into acting and technical, and I feel like acting and technical, we should just this one special time lump them all together, because everything we're going to be talking about is like all feeds into one another, and I think that pretty much wraps up plot and synopsis. But yes, the gore in this film is Rob Zombie level gore. Well, probably not even Rob Zombie level. It's tame. It's tame
super
Rob
tame.
Zombie.
Because remember,
It is.
I text you. We decided to watch this movie together because I was thinking about like, I have seen this movie before, but I had forgotten I'd seen it. And I was thinking about other Rob Zombie movies like House of a Thousand Corpses. And like, I actually loved that movie when it came out. But it was so fucking gory that it's like, I have to be...
Satan!
Yeah, I can't watch that by myself in my apartment. No.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta watch Rob Zombie gore with somebody else if I'm going to choose to watch it, which is not necessarily my forte these days. At age like 13 when those movies were coming out, sure, but God, that's a terrible thing for a 13-year-old to be watching.
I mean, no, I was watching them too, and I was even younger than, I was like 9. And my mom bought me House of a Thousand Corpse on DVD.
Yeah.
And I would like rewatch it.
Yeah. So fucked
And
up.
then I got older and realized like, oh, there's better versions of this movie called like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right. Right.
See, I love The Devil's Rejects. I love House of a
Devil's
Thousand
Rejects.
Corpses. I'm a big fan of Rob Zombie generally as a director. And I also am a big fan of movies that are very gory. I love the Saw movies because they're super
What
gory.
I appreciate a lot about Rob Zombie is that he understands what the color of blood looks like when it comes out of a human body. Because that takes me out of any horror movie. Even we were just talking about, we just did, what was the last one we just did? The Black Phone. And the one thing that I mentioned was like when the dead kids are like pale white with this like bright red color on them, it took me out of the movie immediately. Whereas like Rob Zombie uses blood so well, and it's that dark purple red color, and I believe it. And like, thank you. Just thank you for that.
Yeah. And the gory...
He says you're welcome.
Or whoever his special effects people are.
Yeah.
Good team.
The goriness is why I thought Brian would just like love this movie, and why I think it's a good bad is that I think Rob Zombie knows who they're catering for. He's catering for Brian and not necessarily Travis. So
probably true, yeah.
Where like Travis wants justification for like motivations and stuff like that, where Brian just wants to see like people die for some reason. That's also
I'm trying to see entrails get ripped out.
That's also
his white
listeners.
side.
That's also why Kai and I don't do the podcast in the
Just
same
joking.
room as Brian for this reason.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. When I'm around.
Exactly. And he's he's a Texan, so we just don't know.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm not a Texan. I just live in Texas. There's a difference. There's a big difference.
Yeah, he's even crazier because he moved there.
Touche.
From Philly, and he's
from New York, but originally from Philly.
Originally from Philly, and you're a big Philly sports fan who we know are violent. So you've got all the things happening.
I'm not going there on this podcast.
Long-winded point was that if I step outside of myself and think of myself as someone who appreciates these things and really likes these things, I'm like, yeah, like this whets the appetite of like, I came to see just this monster demolish a bunch of people in different ways. My biggest thing was that the kills actually weren't creative enough.
There
I
weren't
thought
enough different ways.
And I was thinking, there's from the beginning when he walks behind his sister when he's little and he goes behind her and I'm assuming stabs her in the back. they cut to like this extreme close up of like his face, and I was wondering if this movie was originally like at NC-17, and then they were like, shit, we can't release an NC-17 Halloween. No one's going to go see it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
So we have to re-edit this to get that R rating, because they also have fully nude women throughout it. It's not just like a breast here, a breast there. And there's these super violent kills, not to mention the dialogue is like super
Yeah, especially in the
R-rated,
beginning.
NC-17 as well. So I'm really curious if they had to use those close-ups and cut away from these violent deaths to get the rating. I have no idea. Rob, if you're listening, please let us know. Mr. Zombie.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Sir Zombie, please let us know.
But going back to what you're saying about how like Rob Zombie knows who his audience is, and it's generally people like me. And as I said, like I'm a big fan of his as a director, but the reason I put this down as a bad good movie was that I was still, like you said, like it was just kind of the same thing over and over again, and I just found the whole thing kind of boring. But to be fair, when we went back and rewatched the original earlier this year or whatever it was, I was kind of bored by the original as well.
I fell asleep trying to watch it this morning.
Yeah.
Every time I rewatch the original, I'm blown away by how freaking amazing it is.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I can appreciate it, and I can appreciate it for the time that it came out and was what it was.
It's
Yeah.
an all-time masterpiece, Kai. I don't understand. Well, I did some research because Kai decided to text me that she thought it was boring. Because I said it was a masterpiece.
I just said I fell asleep. I didn't say it was boring.
It doesn't matter. You have to sit through it and listen to this.
Okay.
I said it was a masterpiece. Kai said, I think that's a bit strong. So then I did some research and saw what other people also think. It is ranked by Rotten Tomatoes 26th all-time best horror film. By Paste Magazine, the film magazine, they said they put it at 37th all time. And then Slash Film did this interesting thing and did the 95 top horror films of all time and did it alphabetical because they said it was too hard to rank them all. And it was just on the top 95.
I still fell asleep.
I actually would have, I would have thought that it would have been, I thought it would have been ranked higher than that, to be honest. So I'm surprised that it was actually as low as it was on both those lists.
Yeah,
So
because it was like
So-
an iconic
So
movie.
I
Yeah.
agree, but then I looked at the list. I was looking at the list and I'm like, yeah, like all of these are like, you know, you had The Exorcist, you had Alien, you had The Shining, you had
Yeah.
The Thing, you had like all these other things that I'm like, I feel like the top 30 is like, I could see an argument for anyone, like a person saying that this is their top, because obviously it's all
Right.
subjective.
And again, I appreciate the movie, and it's like, it's so much fun to just watch. Her name is escaping my brain.
Jamie
Jamie
Lee
Lee
Curtis,
Curtis.
Thank you. It's so
who
much
is
fun.
also not nude in the original.
You're correct.
I know I'm correct. I've seen that movie so many times.
So many times. Oh, it's clear.
Last night, Kai was like, Jamie Lee Curtis's boobs are in it.
Nope.
And I'm like, no,
Not
they're
on that
not.
one.
No, they're not.
Put on some Trading Places if you want to see some Jamie Lee Curtis boobs.
How old is she in Trading
Gosh,
Places?
Brian, that's such a Brian comment.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time, Trading Places.
Or he just knows all the boobs of all the celebrities from each movie.
Yeah.
From like,
Yeah, I'm like a real life
Skin.
Mr. Skin, basically.
Is that
Yeah.
website still around? I don't think it is.
I don't
right?
even know what Mr.
You don't know what
Skin
Mr.
is.
Skin was? Mr.
No.
Skin was.
Have you not ever seen Knocked Up?
Yeah,
Oh
I've seen
yeah, they
Knocked
do
Up.
mention it in.
But I
Knocked Up.
don't.
Yeah.
In Knocked Up, they like have this idea for this website where you could go and you could find what movies you see your favorite actress topless in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then someone was like, "Oh, so like Mr. Skins?" And I'm like, "God damn it, it's already done." But yeah, it was a website in the early 2000s, which I don't know if it's still around, where you could go and you could like type in Jamie Lee Curtis and
would
it'll
just-
tell you what
oh,
movie she's
God.
actually topless in.
Yeah.
And like at what time code.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So just real quick, going back to the original. So like I said, like I was kind of bored watching it, but I still recognize that that's a classic. I recognize why it's a classic, and I recognize how in 1978 it probably scared the living fuck out of people
Totally.
who watched it. I think the problem is now I'm more used to watching the Saw movies and the Rob Zombie movies, and so to go back and watch something in my late 30s that came out 50 years ago or whatever it was, it just doesn't do it for me the same way. Like I'm just used to the newer style of horror movies. So like the slow burn.
It's slower paced. The other
type of
thing I will
thing,
say,
yeah.
going back to it when I was watching it earlier today, which sucks that this is the case, but because I've seen so many of the newer Halloween movies, and because Michael Myers has become this sort of cartoon-ish character giant thing, or like you see people wearing the Mike Myers Halloween costume on and around Halloween. Michael Myers. What am
Not
I saying?
Mike
Mike Myers. Mike Myers.
Mike Myers is the Canadian actor.
He's less scary, right? I watched that movie from 1978, and I'm sort of laughing at this guy in this suit. Whereas I feel like if I had seen that the first time around, or seen it in 1978 when it came out, that would be terrifying, right? All the moments where, especially in the beginning, when he's just showing up, when he's behind the bushes, when he's outside of the school, like that would be terrifying.
Yeah, agreed. Should we talk about acting?
Sure, yeah. I mean, go for it. You two are hosting, so.
That's true. And don't forget that. So one of the first notes, actually, the first note I wrote was that I'm already digging the soundtrack just because they were playing like some old classic rock song. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I said the same thing when they
Ditto.
played the main Halloween theme. I was like, oh, I really like this soundtrack.
yeah.
I really like the score.
I wrote down at one point the Halloween theme music never gets old. It's one of the most iconic theme songs for a reason. It's just so good.
Oh my gosh. As soon as it came on, I'm like, I'm immediately so much more tense. And like, it's the little boy just walking.
Yeah.
I just get excited too. But so the second note after the soundtrack was, acting in the beginning ain't great. And then I wrote, Rob's wife, Sherry, who plays Michael Myers' mom, is not a good actress.
No, she's not. And she hasn't been in any of his movies. And
No, she's literally in them because she's his wife.
See? Gotta
Yeah,
get
and it
that
was interesting
director.
because...
What?
What's that?
Gotta marry that director if you're out there.
That's true. Then you'll get all the roles. And so like the guy, and I still, like I said, I still don't know if it's a stepfather or just
I took it as like a boyfriend.
her boyfriend or whatever.
I kind of got that vibe
But
too.
Google did say stepfather in the plot synopsis, so maybe it's, yeah.
Did it, yeah. But so it was played by William
Those
Forsythe.
heathens weren't married.
Yeah. So he was played by William Forsythe, who is, I mean, he's a legit actor.
I had no idea until I looked it up on IMDb. I did not know that was him.
Yeah, he was almost kind of unrecognizable, but
Yeah.
he's a legit actor, but I thought he was pretty bad in his little role. I thought there were moments where young Michael Myers was decent, where he showed, there were like little twitches that I noticed, like his cheek almost like under his eye. I don't know if you guys can see me trying to do a poor version of it right now, with like little twitches that you could see just almost like the evil inside of him. Overall, I didn't think the acting was anything spectacular. The girl who played, what was her name? Scout Taylor Compton, I think was her name, that played
Yeah. Who played Laurie Strode?
Laurie Strode. Yeah, I don't know. Some of her screams just felt real fake and forced. I'm a huge fan of Malcolm McDowell. I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was anything special.
I thought he was really good.
Really?
I thought he was, and maybe it's because he's being put around all these other
I thought he was the
people.
best by far.
I hands down thought he was the best in the film. I thought he knew exactly what he was like. I thought he was really good.
See, I thought he was the best, but I didn't, and maybe it was just because he was surrounded by so many people that I didn't think were that good that I perceived him as not as great either. And not that I thought he was bad, but he wasn't as good as I normally think he is, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say about that, I think. Oh, one quick note that I thought was kind of interesting. Sorry. The girl that played Michael Myers' sister also played young Jenny in Forrest Gump.
That's who she was.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for saying that. I kept looking at her face while watching the movie and being like, remember, I even pointed it out to you. I was like, she's been in stuff before. Like, I think she did something around that time and I couldn't figure out what
The
it was.
older sister.
No, the who plays Laurie
Strode.
no. Sorry, the
No, no,
older
no.
sister.
Yeah,
the
the
one
older
who's-
sister that he
that's
murdered.
The
making
sister
out,
that he
in the
kills.
beginning. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
The one that's
those
completely
eyes
cool
and
with
the
her
cheeks.
boyfriend
I
having sex with that mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the kid in Forrest
She
Gump.
plays young Jenny, yeah.
Jenny that says, "You can sit here."
Yeah, exactly, on
Or
the bus,
something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, what's her name? Was Hannah Hall.
I've seen Forrest Gump like 3 times, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hannah Hall was her name.
I've probably seen Forrest Gump as many times as you've seen Halloween.
Yeah, I understand that I am in the minority with that film. I just think it's fine.
I haven't seen it in a long time, years probably, but
I feel like this is a completely different segue talking about a completely different filmmaker, but Robert Zemeckis, I feel like a lot of his stuff is so it's your dad's favorite movie, feel good type films.
yeah, I get that.
Like Castaway, dads love Castaway, dads love Forrest Gump.
Maybe
Dad's-
I'm a dad because I love Castaway and Forrest Gump as well.
I mean, I love Forrest Gump.
Zemeckis, obviously, my favorite film by him is Back to the Future, but
I was going to say, have you ever heard of a little thing called Back to the Future? Only the single greatest.
then the question is like, how much of that did Spielberg direct? That's my question.
Doesn't matter. It's still the single greatest movie trilogy in the history of the universe.
Agreed, but we're talking about the filmmaker. We're not talking about the film as like by itself.
Nope, don't care. Back to the Future. Mwah.
We could be talking about Halloween though, if we wanted to.
Nice. That was subtle.
Great segue, host.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't have much to say about the acting. It was a wash for me. I just, I honestly felt like it was the direction, and there's an element of cheese to this, and it's like got some campy horror.
Agreed.
And that's how the acting felt in this. Even Malcolm McDowell for me. And I also agree he was the most interesting to watch. But I didn't look at anybody and go, God, they were terrible. And I didn't look at anybody and go, God, they were great. It just kind of, they all went
their part.
together. Yeah.
I will say, I do think that's a good point that Rob Zombie, and more so with Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses and stuff like that, but there is always an element of camp, I would say. And I do think, now that I'm kind of thinking about it, and I haven't seen either of the other movies. I own them both on DVD, but I haven't watched them in years. But I don't think the acting I would generally say is great in any of his movies.
No. Because it's all because there's that element of camp,
Yeah.
and because that's not what he specializes in. That's not what it,
Yeah.
because there has to be to kill people like that and like have continuous like gory murders one after another in your film. There is an element of like you're getting numb to it, right? What is it?
Desensitized.
Desensitized. Thank you. Yeah, and I feel like he almost wants you to be desensitized to it within his filmmaking as it goes along. And if you have really, really strong grounded acting and you love these characters, you're gonna want him to live, and that's not what he does. He kills everyone, right?
I will agree that none of the acting is like stellar, but I think it's all really, I'm gonna differ between you two, and I'm gonna say that all the acting is actually good. I think Rob Zombie does a really good job of getting his whole cast to buy into whatever world he's building. And
I 100% agree with that. That's why it felt slightly camping.
Yeah, but like I never feel like anyone isn't grounded in the world that they're in. Like no one feels out of place. And I was having this thought when the black man was taking a dump in the public bathroom.
Before he gets
Did he even wipe?
beaten
Before he
into
get yes.
Yeah.
But like,
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. What a way to go. You
did
got
he have a chance?
poop everywhere? Damn.
Okay, Brian, that's not my point. My point is like his
I'm just saying.
that role was so small, but it still felt so grounded, and I believe that guy 100% that he was living in this world. Although now that I'm thinking about it, I thought he was in like 1977 at the time.
So the only
Which I do really think maybe I'm disproving myself because he was acting very much like he was from 1977 in my opinion.
that's true.
How so?
Because he was like the stereotypical blaxploitation of like, oh, check out my fro, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it looks good, blah, blah, blah. Which maybe Rob Zombie should only make films set in the 1970s. I don't know.
The only part that I would disagree with what you just said is, like we were talking about that initial scene with Sherry Moon Zombie, his wife, Michael Myers' mom, and the stepdad. That didn't feel grounded in reality with the rest of the movie. That felt way different. Their acting did, like, because like we were talking about, like they were just very other side of the tracks. It just felt forced. Like their accents even felt like I didn't buy William Forsythe's accent as like it sounded like he was trying to be like a dirty Southerner or something like that. Otherwise, I would agree with what you said. But that earlier part in the beginning of the movie, I think I would say is the only part that I would disagree with.
Any other thoughts? I feel like this is it's Rob Zombie's
say about the
Halloween.
technical.
What?
I said I got a lot to say about the technical.
Oh, I said that we were meshing the two, so you could say whenever you want.
I'm saying all the things then. Let me talk.
Go. Yeah.
Okay.
I heard you, Travis.
No one listens to me.
You said that, but then we got real stuck on acting. So yeah, I heard. Did I just?
Brian rarely has things to say about technical. That's why he didn't have anything to say.
Got it. Well, I don't have like a ton, but my big thing that I just set deck, like in the opening in the house, which like there's sort of paint peeling off the walls, and there's clearly
set decoration, by the way, for people who don't know.
Set. What was it? What did I say?
You just said set deck. I'm just saying for people who don't know the lingo.
For the people who aren't actors, Kai.
The abbreviations that I'm spouting off here. Okay, the one thing that just clocked me, it's Halloween, right? So in every Halloween movie, you have the jack-o'-lanterns wherever they can be. So they're all over this home. There's the kitchen scene, which is like the main scene where the kid is getting shit on in the beginning. There are paper pumpkins and like
scene where he's being shit on. When
Michael
not literally getting shit on.
Oh,
when Michael Myers,
it's a Rob Zombie film. I don't know. There could have been a whole scene where I was dealing with my dog and someone was taking a crap on someone.
No, definitely not that. No, I mean when Michael Myers is like when the stepdad's being mean to him, when his older sister comes down in the kitchen, that whole first kitchen scene, the fridge is littered with these cute Halloween decorated things from school. Like, and I'm going, who in that house made those and or hung those? This is not like everything that you're telling me from what's coming out of these people's mouths does not say that this is a house of love and joy. And also everything we then learn about Michael Myers does not say he's the kid making the happy pumpkin picture at school.
I don't know. He did a lot of art. Did a lot of paper mache.
This is true.
Yeah, but it was all dark.
Did you see his room? Later. It was comically. It was comically so many masks. Draws pictures of the dead animals that he kills, and then
all of his art was very dark.
Doesn't show them to.
That's why I thought that they kept trying to give him. They kept trying to put in sympathy into him, because like no matter how dark he got, there was always still like, but he still carries around this picture, or like, he like still does, he like makes these paintings, or he just wants to make these little cute masks that look like they're from Crash Bandicoot, like
that look like they're from Crash Bandicoot.
Did you play that game growing up?
I watched people play that game growing up. I'm not
I was waiting for him to go ooga booga. Brian, did you get it?
Yes.
That I didn't get. I didn't watch it enough to understand that.
When Crash would put the mask on, he would make that noise. Anyways, sorry. I digress.
Back on topic, Travis.
Travis pointed this out last night. There was some shot in the movie last night where they're like outside on the street, the three girls are, when they're walking home from school, and the camera's panning from right to left, and like in between these two trees, you just see this massive palm tree sticking up in the middle of quote unquote Illinois.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
In the middle of Pasadena.
Right, in the middle of Pasadena. And then, which then took me out of it as soon as you said it, because there's all these like, dead, dry leaves on the ground and everything because it's fall. And then now I'm looking at the leaves and the art deck and I'm going, well, that's not real, is it? Which of course, but
yeah. Well, it was an interesting decision in my opinion, because I feel like it was intentional.
Palm tree?
Yes. And here's why. I feel like it was intentional to they either did one of two things. They either added a palm tree to pay like homage to the original Halloween, because the original Halloween was shot in Pasadena and you could see palm trees in the original as well.
Oh.
Because it was so low budget. They like shot it on the weekends, like whatever. But with this film, at $15 million for a budget, like they could actually shoot in Illinois. So they either added that palm tree, in my opinion, or they intentionally shot in Pasadena to mimic the look and feel of the original.
Yeah.
I could see that being the case. I feel like I could see Rob Zombie doing that as an homage to the original.
Yeah.
Because that's also the only
like
palm tree that I saw. Did you see more?
No. But I wasn't.
And it was very center intentional. So I'm like, interesting.
Maybe. Yeah. I always feel bad for the poor actors who are like in the winter or the fall somewhere, but they're in the middle of like 100-degree heat in Pasadena having to wear a ski jacket.
Yeah. Which the original Halloween, like when you're from LA and know Pasadena, you watch it, you're like, oh, that feels like Pasadena. This didn't feel like Pasadena to me. Did it feel like Pasadena to you?
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
And in part because the set deck, which was great actually in those outdoor shots.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Anything else on technical?
I don't know. No.
Okay. Do we have any nitpicks?
Could have seen some more entrails getting ripped out, but beggars can't be choosers.
I just would have liked to see an array of deaths.
I would agree with that.
Or I guess I was expecting to see an array of deaths, even though you made a good point earlier, Travis. This is Halloween. It's not a Rob Zombie movie, so we're not getting like the girl being sewed to a fishtail.
Yeah.
I
also just remembered and didn't bring it up before.
Or man.
They made some of his motivations feel a little sexual. Like he was sexually motivated, like when he touches his sister before he kills her.
Was there any others than that?
Obviously watching people have sex, and like I feel like in the original there isn't that layer of motivation other than like he does kill his sister and his sister's naked, but like this one was very much in your face of like he's touching his sister like on her leg and butt.
For me, that came across more as like he's like fucking with her than it's actually he's interested in her sexually. He wants to fuck with her so she thinks it's her boyfriend coming back, so she doesn't.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt about it too.
Yeah.
It had my imagination going to really dark places, especially when he kills the girl that was really dumb for not noticing that her boyfriend was 3 feet taller.
Yeah, the blonde cheerleader.
Yeah, because he carries her body like down into wherever he put that tombstone. And we don't see that till later because her body's in front of the tombstone. But at the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, is he carrying her? And is he like a necrophiliac?
See, I didn't have any of those.
See, I'm like, does he have sex with these dead bodies?
Yeah, that says a lot about you, Travis.
Well, everyone else
that's what
he's
I
leaving
keep thinking.
there.
I'm like, I think maybe this needs to be cut out of the podcast, Travis.
I think maybe you should seek professional help to talk about your necrophiliac tendencies.
Says the man who loves to see people murdered and wishes this movie had gorier
I'm not
stuff.
trying to have sex with dead people. I'm just saying that. That's all I'm saying.
That we know of.
Well, yeah,
Brian.
I wouldn't admit it in public even if I was. That's true. But I'm not, for the record.
Anyway, my only nitpick, that wasn't a nitpick. That was just a question that I forgot to bring up. Because I'd be curious if anyone else listening that saw this movie feels the same way in terms of like if they felt there was a hint of sexual motivation in it, because I also felt like it was coming across like maybe he's sexually frustrated and like that's what's causing him to kill as well, because like no one ever liked him or like loved him and X, Y, and Z. You don't
think he had a nurse in the psych ward that like he got down with?
I don't know.
Ladies like big dudes.
I do have one nitpick that I just thought
Big,
about.
tall, strong men.
Mm-hmm.
Strong, silent type. Okay, why are you thinking that?
I was just I couldn't remember the name of Malcolm McDowell's character. I was having a brain fart on it.
Dr. Loomis.
Yeah, Dr. Loomis, that's right. So the earlier scenes that are like the 17 years prior, he looks ridiculous. They tried to make him look younger by giving him like the fake long hair wig, and he just looks ridiculous.
I thought he looked ridiculous when he was old.
But that's just what he looks like.
So maybe he just looked ridiculous the whole time, because Kai also really hated the trench coat.
No, I didn't hate the trench coat. I just laughed at the pop of the collar on the trench coat and how...
Because Loomis wore a trench coat in the original, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but it was like very much like of the time that this older man wears this trench coat.
Well, yeah. That could have been another nod to the original, but
in this one, he like has his collar popped with like a black Steve Jobs turtleneck underneath, and like
well, because he's got to be stylish still. But I just thought the wig and everything they tried to make him look younger, and he just looked ridiculous. He just looked like an old man trying to look young.
Yeah, I have 3 nitpicks. One nitpick is when he just like bulldozes his way through Laurie Strode's parents' house, and there's clearly like supposed to be kids trick-or-treating going up and down the street, but no one saw. And then they even cut to the wide of Michael going through the door, and his head is like nearly grazing the top of the door frame. And I'm like, how? Essentially all my nitpicks are like, how did no one see this 65-foot man walking through the streets? The other thing is he carries Laurie when she gets knocked unconscious and then drops her in front of the tombstone. And then my last nitpick, because you guys aren't paying attention anymore, so hopefully the listeners are still listening.
I was looking at.
I'm always paying attention.
We've talked about how giant this dude is 1,000 times, and none of us have looked up who the actor was. So I was looking up to see if he was.
I literally said earlier that he was 6'8",
Oh, is he
but
6'8"?
nobody listened to me.
He's 6'9",
Yeah.
actually.
He's 6'9".
But I was trying to see if he's like a WWE wrestler or something.
I mean, that's how he's built.
Listening to you.
That's how it feels. My last nitpick is, how does Lori know her way around the house in the end? How does she know the secret hiding passages? How did she know to go in the closet and then up into the roof and then like be in the ceiling? I'm just like,
from when she was a baby.
Yeah,
and
that's
used to
fair.
Crawl around down there.
She used to crawl around in the ceiling?
Yeah, up
Yeah.
there.
When she was like a year old.
Babies' memories are perfect.
That's true.
That's it. So, did we change any of our verdicts?
No, I'm still going with bad good.
I didn't change my verdict. You know what we didn't talk about? But I just wanted to say nobody mentioned how awesome Danny Trejo was.
Oh, yeah. I wrote a note about that, too, and I forgot. I love Danny Trejo.
I was so good to you, Michael.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I know.
His voice got so high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's all. But no, I didn't
it was
change my
great.
opinion.
And that was like a mercy kill. Like he drowned him. Well, no, then he threw the TV on him.
Yeah, then he
And
smashed
then
it.
he got the
And he
ladder, and then
kept-
he went on top of the ladder and jumped off the ladder and landed on him.
right.
Then he got the table and slammed him through the table.
He also
Then he gave him the pupil's elbow.
Then he pulled out that microphone. I don't know
and then
where
he
got
ripped
that
out his
microphone from.
entrails. And then he pooped on him.
Okay, all right. Ooh.
Okay, well, thank you for listening to today's weird, gross episode of Good, Bad, Bad, Good, where we looked at 2007's Rob Zombie's Halloween. Let us know what you thought about the film anywhere you interact with us, most likely Instagram. You can follow us on all social media at goodbad_badgood. You can follow me on all social media at Travis_Orozco. You can follow Brian at
Gossip on the gram.
and Kailena at.
Kylie Mai on Instagram.
Until next time, when we continue our voyage down this dark, seedy path where people get murdered next week.
And pooped on.
Yes, I promise next week's movie we will not have
Mention
anyone being
sharding
pooped
or
on.
poop or shit.
No, we probably will.
Okay. Hope to see you all next week.
How old are we?
Or listen to you all. I mean, hear you guys. I
We
hope.
won't hear them. They'll hear us.
I hope you're here next week after
Okay,
this.
bye.
Oh my gosh.
That's how podcasts work.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Ooh.
Good Bad Bad Good is an Ex Nihilo production. Original theme music and sound engineering done by Jen Star Hacker. Find her at hackersoundmusic.com. Opinions expressed are solely that of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views of any entity they represent.